If you can't get out of bed when you say you're going to, if you can't put in your mouth what you say you're going to, if you can't reach the contacts you say you're going to, how the hell are you going to become worth $100 million?
Listen up or run for cover. Dropping knowledge from the people who have it to the people who need it. The real Brad Lee Bombs is dropping
What it is, Brad Lee back in the house with another episode of Dropping Bombs. Today in the studio, folks, I've got a real live badass. Now, if you guys don't know who this dude is, it's going to be hard to explain, only because, I don't know how many companies this dude is secretly involved in. I know you recently tried to buy a frickin' sports team. I know that I've been to several of your houses, and they're all trophy fucking houses. They're not just houses, folks. They're dream houses. He collects them. It's unbelievable. You got your own freaking flight machine, time machine. You used to have a Falcon 9000, and now you bought a new jet from Oracle or something.
I had a Falcon 900, now I have a Global Express.
Global Express, dog. I seen you on freaking social media. I'm like, holy shit, dude. There's Mac Daddy shit. This guy inspires me, folks. So, folks, if you're ever going to listen and share this shit, I'll bet you this is the one you share out the most and like the most. Put your hands together, folks, for Ed Milet. Better known as Eddie Spaghetti.
Good to be with you, brother. I love you.
Dude,
thanks for having me.
Hey, listen, thanks for being here. Listen, there's so many bombs that are going to drop. It's unbelievable. Yeah. Dude, I got so many questions for you where I just want to pick your brain, where I guarantee you people are thinking shit, but they never get a chance to meet you and talk to you in person. So I might just throw some of those out. I don't really have an agenda. I just know that us shooting the shit will provide a lot of people value. I might seed it, though. For example, dude, how does it feel having so much cash? You got someone full-time moving it around because it ain't insured. And being young and buff and freaking tough and badass, dude. Do you wake up every day and just think, holy shit, dude, I get to be Ed Milet?
Dude, I have to replay the intro to this thing because nobody in my house thinks the way you do. So thank you for saying all these things. I need to get my kids thinking this stuff.
Well, why do you think that?
You know what, man? I don't feel like I have all the money in the world running around. No, nobody feels that way. But I feel, I'm not, and you know me, I'll be real with you. So I feel blessed. I've worked very hard to get some of the stuff that I have in my life, but I feel really, really blessed. I've had a lot of really good fortune. I've made a lot of great friends, guys like you that I enjoy talking to. I wish we recorded our conversations on my boat, stuff like that people could hear, because those are the real. But I feel really blessed. And lately, I just feel maybe a little bit more obligation. My dad just passed away. I turned 50 next month, just to be a better guy and make a bigger difference in the world and take it to a new level. I feel that way lately. When you lose your dad, I think, because my dad was my best friend, it's wow, it's sad. The other part that occurs to you is well, I'm the next one. This time is actually limited. I was with my dad when he passed away. I was there when it happened, and it's real. You're gonna die. No pun intended. Max out your life. And so I'm probably a little bit more serious about it lately than I ever even was before.
Dude. Well, number one, sorry to hear about your dad, especially when you're close to him like that. When my dad died, I wasn't really close to him, but I wasn't, what do you call it when you're estranged? I wasn't estranged. It's just I grew up to where he kind of left me alone and expected me to fend for myself. I wasn't really close to him. And when he died, it was emotional, dude. You must have went through a hell of a ride there. Yeah.
Well, my dad, tale of two lives, which really gives everybody hope. My dad's first 40 years, there's always the good person in you. You know what I'm saying? We all have good in us. But my dad's first 40 years, I could say, he wouldn't mind me saying, he didn't live perfectly. He was an alcoholic, used drugs, probably wasn't the best husband or father. It was pretty intense with me. A lot of love still there, but when my dad got sober, my dad ended up being sober for 35, 36 years. My dad had a second half of his life that was unbelievable. So I really became proud of my dad and very close to him. Something admirable about somebody who is a little bit messed up and then turns everything around. That's better than the perfect person the whole time, And so I think my dad's a really good example, much better one than I am, of how good a man you can be, and that your past doesn't equal your future. You could have screwed up a lot of things. You could have, gone broke, hurt people, made lots of things, made mistakes you're even ashamed of. and then come back to live an amazing life. My dad helped hundreds and hundreds of people get sober, and I never knew it. And so, I met a lot of them since he's passed away that my dad really made a difference in their life. So yeah, man, it was hard when I lost him for sure.
Well, sorry to hear that, but it happens, and that's the point, man. Everybody dies. How many people do you, because you see a lot of people, how many of them do you like literally feel sorry for because you understand the statistics that 70-80% of them are never going to do shit?
I feel sorry for people that like sleepwalk through their life. You know what I'm saying? That just like kind of just drift through it and keep thinking like eventually they're going to turn something around, but they don't do anything different, meet anybody different, do anything different. I feel bad for them. And then I feel really bad for the people that none of them are listening to the show. If they're listening to your show, they want to improve their life. But it's just the people every single day that just waste talent, waste blessings, waste opportunities. And they become a waste of life. And I hate seeing that in humans, because I do think if people say life is short. There's an element of it that's short. But if you're not happy, life is long. It's long, man. I mean, how much more TV can you watch? How much more gossiping can you do before it just gets long, And so that's how I feel. Is that a bomb? Is that a half a bomb?
That's a big old bomb. That's a machine gun, and that's an applause. I've got all kinds of sound effects you probably don't hear.
Well, I've been on before. I've heard some of them. So, and I listened to the show. So
now, when you said, "Hey, man, my family doesn't really think of me that way," how do you think familiarity affects relationships?
Well, I think it's certainly, if you're not careful, you have to guard that. Like if you have mentors where you get to know them too well, or they can't influence you. I watch it with me. The people closest to me, I probably have the least influence over sometimes, because they see me at my worst. They see me lose my temper. They've seen me down.
Yeah, but Ed, they also see what you got. Like, listen, dude, I've been to the dude's house. I haven't been on your jet, unfortunately, but I know you got one. And dude, people don't realize like how hard it is to attain that level of wealth. Like, dude, you've been doing a lot of right shit for a long time, right? You didn't inherit the shit.
I definitely did not inherit it. That's for sure.
And you didn't come from it. So it's like, dude, what the hell did you do to amass like almost into the billions? I ain't going to give out your personal business, but this dude ain't no deca millionaire, and he ain't no single digit millionaire. Like, dude, have you been in Clubhouse yet, by the way?
No, everyone keeps telling me I need to do it. I've been
dude, you're fucking made for Clubhouse, bro. So am I. It's unbelievable, dude. I mean, there's rooms, there's dumb rooms, but I pop open a room, 150 people want to come in, and guess what they're wanting to learn? How to make money selling courses online. Well, dude, when they're done listening to me after 2 hours, I swear to God, I've got 150 DMs wanting demos, and we're signing them up so fast it's ridiculous. Like, go figure. No one's ever heard of Lightspeed. Here I am thinking everyone knows Lightspeed. Dude, nobody knows Lightspeed. And the people that are seeking right now how to make money online, when they pop in the Clubhouse, they've never heard of Lightspeed. They hear my conviction on how to do shit properly. And, dude, they're just piling up. Now,
my reluctance to it was what you said, was that people would get more and more proximity.
Yeah, but, dude,
maybe that would hurt your influence.
Well, true, but dude, with you, dude, you pop in there like once every couple of weeks and do the Ed Milet show, bro. Especially if you're looking for people to bring into WFG or the Miliari Group or any of the businesses that you're in, or whatever the case may be. Like, dude, how many businesses do you own?
I'm involved or on the 23 right now in my portfolio right now. And so like, it's cool because a given day is vast and diverse. You mentioned one's a financial service company, one's a chocolate company.
I know, but Ed, some people can't figure out one business. You've got 27 now. What's your day look like to manage those? Or do you just delegate?
I delegate a lot, but that's a great lesson. I want to say something about that, since we're going to get to how do we accumulate money? There's this thing that, hey, millionaires have multiple streams of income, right? You always hear this stuff. That's sort of a truth. That's a fact that's not true. What I mean by that is I got great at one thing. That's what made me wealthy. I didn't split my focus. What happens is then you become a millionaire, then you diversify your income streams. And I mean like multiple businesses. But I think a lot of people think, I'm going to do what millionaires do. I'm going to have 11 different things I'm involved with, and you never get great at any of them, right? Even you and I have talked about that. You need to focus on Lightspeed, as you've been doing, build the heck out of that thing. Yeah, then you get wealthy. You're like, okay, I'm going to get involved in this. I have an interest in that. I have a relationship there. I have a connection there. And so very, very important that you don't begin to think the way to get rich is to have 25 different businesses. That's not what anybody I know. That's not what Zuckerberg did. It's not what Cuban did in the beginning. right? It's not what I've done. It's not what Jeff Bezos did. Like, we got into our primary business and crushed it. Then you diversify. In terms of a given day, it's interesting. Like, some days are like, personal development on my show and my YouTube channel and creating content. Some days I'm involved in, outstanding foods, and it's a chip company. So it's like the days are diverse, which keeps me interested. At my age, to do the same thing for 30, 40 years, I think does become monotonous. And so I enjoy the challenge of like learning new things. And I like being around people that are different than me. It's one of the reasons like you and I connect really well, because you're so damn funny, right? You're so interesting to talk to that, like, I don't want to talk to a bunch of dudes like me. I already know what I think. So a given day is super interesting for me. Like, when I'm done now, I'm going into a meeting for a bank that I'm on the board of.
Dude, I want to go
totally different.
I want to go golf with you and Richard Cranium.
Yeah.
Or Richard Cabeza. Yeah.
Yeah. Richard Cabeza is my buddy. He's a big time real estate developer, actually, in Laguna Beach, and a wonderful, very, very successful, wealthy dude. And he's just one of my buddies that makes me laugh, he's successful, makes me laugh.
He's funny. It looks like you guys are having a good time. So you still find time for golf and leisure. How do you do
leisure?
That?
Yes, absolutely. I do. I schedule it, like, because I'm not one of those dudes who like relaxes easily. I have to schedule it. It's not like you, man. People don't know this about you. Saturday, 4:00, a lot of times you're going to find Brad at the office. Like, Brad works. Brad is I don't like that word grinder, because I think you love what you're doing, but I do
dude,
too.
The truth is I'm trying to freaking catch up to you. Like, I'm trying to catch up to real players. Like, that's the crazy thing about shit, Ed. People all look at me like I'm successful, and then they're amazed that I don't think that I'm that successful. And they're like, oh, he's just, trying to play humble. No, man, I'm looking at dudes like you.
Yeah, but then I look at dudes that are different too. So name dropper time, right? Like, on one of the clubs that I belong to, me and Richard Cabeza were having dinner actually on Valentine's. He was my Valentine this year. And like, Tim Cook walked right by us. Like, he's a member there. He walked right by me, and he runs a little deal called Apple, right? You're like, whoa. And then in front of my house,
I don't want to interrupt you, bro, but I'm telling you, dude, Tim Cook ain't got nothing on Ed Milet.
Well, thank you. But he certainly he runs the most influential company, or one of them, in the world.
Dude, he inherited that position.
No, but like that morning, every morning, Phil Knight walks by my house. Phil walks like 8 or 10 miles a day. Him and his wife are amazing. I don't know them well, but they walk like 10 miles a day, no joke, every single day, even if it rains. And he'll walk right by my house, or I'll walk my dogs, and I'm like, well, he's got about $54 billion more than me, right? So everything's that way. And like, what you do well, that I do well, is I'm in that environment because I want to be in proximity to people who stretch me in all those different ways. So there's all levels, man.
Yeah, but don't you think at some level, Ed, which you're definitely above, it just doesn't matter anymore? Like, in other words, 4 billion and 40 billion, not much of a difference. You can only do so much. You can only stay at hotels that are so nice. You can only fly so nice and drive so nice. Once you have billions, you can have anything you want, can't you?
Yes, and that there's validity to that. But I think also what happens was, it's really weird, man. When you're young, or at least what I was, I pretended to be more successful than I was. I want everybody to think I was super successful. I had salvage title Mercedes I'd buy, so I was driving a Mercedes. It was been like an 11 car accidents, and I'd buy watches I couldn't afford. And all these things made me broke when I was young, and I stopped doing it. Then when you actually become wealthy, I think that you almost do the reverse. Like, you underplay it a little bit. You're almost embarrassed by it to some extent. And so this may sound like the corny part, but the really wealthy dudes that I like, for them, it's about, if I can accumulate more, I can give more. And whatever you think of different dudes, like, I know there's all this controversy with Gates and the vaccines and all that. I have never met Bill. I don't know Bill. I don't know what to believe on any of that stuff. Frankly, I don't know the man. But what I do know, he says his mission in the world is to cure malaria. That's kind of like a hard thing to do if you got $11, right? So the bigger wealth, what happens at 4 and 40, at $4 billion, I'm going to be wealthy the rest of my life. I'm going to give away some, and my family's going to be generationally wealthy. At $40 billion, you could literally change mankind to some extent and do something, once in a century somebody could do. So it does matter to me, not just the money part, but the impact part. Plus, I don't play sports anymore. So what's the sport? The sport's business, right? So tell Tiger Woods, hey, man, You're only 3 or 4 majors short of Nicholas. Who cares, man? What's the difference? 15 majors or 20 majors? 15 or 18? Who cares? He cares. It matters.
Yeah, like when Tiger got caught cheating and his game went down. Apparently, he found his game again.
Apparently he did, right? Apparently he did. Have you seen that documentary on HBO?
Not yet.
It's unbelievable. And one of the things when you see it, I think, is you have a little bit of an understanding of what made his formative years and how he looked at relationships and women were shaped an awful lot by his old man. And his dad was a really good dude, his biggest fan, good man, but he had these issues as well, according to that documentary. So it shaped who he is.
Do you think the familiarity that we have with, like you said, whoever hangs around you probably don't have the same influence. Again, my thought is, dude, anybody that hangs around you and actually sees like, holy shit, dude, like this isn't even normal. Like, dude, describe your houses or let me. Like, dude, his houses, folks, and the reason I'm saying is not to make everybody go, ooh, ah, impressive. There's people that are out there freaking parading around as experts where if they had one of your houses, they wouldn't be able to afford the maintenance. See what I'm saying? How much does a jet cost just to have for a year?
Just to have, it's 7 figures, my jet, a year, just to have. I was golfing yesterday with Richard Cabeza, and there was a golf ball in the bushes, someone else's golf ball. I stopped the golf cart, and I'm like, hey, there's a golf ball there, right? He goes, what the hell are you doing? I go, someone left their golf ball and pick the golf ball up, right? So I don't have to buy a golf ball. And this is like, it's me and you talk. So he goes, dude, you pay over $1 million a year in property taxes, and you're trying to scavenge into a bush for a used golf ball. What the hell is wrong with you? And I said, the reason I can afford to pay $1 million in property taxes is because I'll scavenge into a bush to get a golf ball. That's why. I saved money.
Or in principle.
The principle of it is that I've saved and I've resisted the temptation. Look, man, I have a lot more friends who used to be rich than currently are.
Well, you got some that are hot on your trail.
Yeah, but you're different because you're super curious. Like if people knew, like when you and I talk, what we talk about, or the guys you hang around, like we're part of a group of friends that are like really seriously trying to get nuggets from one another, really seriously trying to learn. We're not casual about it. We have a blast. We drink a lot of wine. We have cigars. We have a great time. So it looks like we're casual. But those cigar wine conversations, as you know, get really, really intense. I've watched you almost throw down with some dudes when we get into debates on business and stuff. And you know who I'm talking about. So, you know, like it may look like it's all bubble gum and giggles and wine and cigars, but underneath it, it's like we're competing and we're really trying to learn from each other.
Yeah, well, it's fun to be able to sit back and say, man, not only do I know Ed Milet, like I've been to his house and that shit's impressive, dude. So again, not to keep harping on it, but I want people to understand that are listening to this podcast. Cause dude, there's people right now just trying to figure out how to get from 600 to 700. I mean, I'm sorry, 6 figures to 7 figures.
Yep. And you should be doing that. But here's the other thing. You better have some big ass dreams. I think what's in front of me next thing is real limiting. So you should get from 400 grand to $1 million and then $1 million to 3 million. But you would have some big ass God-sized dreams. Like the home, I just literally, Brad, you don't even know this. I just bought the house I'm in this interview in 1 week ago. And it's oceanfront. And this beach, when I was a kid dating Christiana, who's now my wife, this exact beach, I used to walk on and go, babe, we're going to get a house up there someday. I had no idea the hell I was going to do that. Should I have been thinking about how to get to 6 figures? Yeah, I was, but I wanted a big thing. My heart's been gravitating towards this for a very, very long time. And just the reason you want cash, great story. The dude who had this house was a very, very wealthy dude. I'm told maybe stuff happened. And I get a call. Hey, it's $9 million below ask price, but you got to write a check in a week. And I'm like, in a week, like no inspections, no nothing. I go, what's the number? It's about $20 million. I go, yes. Stroked the check in a week, moved in here. Never even been inside the house. I bought a $20 million house I had never walked in the side of. The first time I walked inside this house, they gave me the keys. It was mine. No joke. I just knew where it was.
Did it come furnished?
Yes.
See, that's the best way to buy a house is like when you walk in, you're just like, get your clothes and your toothbrush and beat it.
Yeah, it was pretty cool, man. I'm not going to lie.
But I saw you redoing that Painted Desert. Is that Painted Desert I keep seeing? That freaking thing on the
that
golf course?
house in the desert is at the Madison Club, and it's a pretty special home. Yeah,
You redid a little bit of that one, didn't you?
I'm redoing it right now. Yeah,
now you got rid of the Idaho spread.
I got rid of the Idaho. That was a mistake. I should have kept the Idaho, the one you've been to.
Yeah,
that was a spectacular home.
But then you bought a new tip. It looked like, or you were considering buying that land where the.
I did. Boy, you're looking close. Yeah, I bought some
land.
Dude,
I follow you, bro. By the way, if anybody's not following Ed Mylett, you guys are stupid. I'd go to Instagram at Ed Mylett. I'd go to all platforms, search Ed Mylett, subscribe, hit the notifications, go to iTunes or Spotify and get his podcast and download that. His podcast is like dropping bombs, except professional and clean and sweet, sweet and kind and a little bit more serious. Like, you know, and somehow you're getting all the goodies. But see, the beautiful part is a lot of times when you're interviewing somebody, dude, it's like you don't even bring up the fact that you're doing better than most of the people you're interviewing.
You're being very nice today. Yeah, man. I'm like you. I'm like anybody. I don't feel that way most of the time. I'm not saying there's not.
Dude, why don't you have Phil Knight on if he's jogging by every damn day?
Yeah, I've sort of floated it. That's kind of how I do it, and I need to probably pursue that further. I'd like to have Phil on the show. It would be a great interview.
If you're my buddy, you'll go out next time he's jogging by and be like, "Hey, here's a note from a buddy of mine," and just hand him a note that says, "Brad Lee wants you on Dropping Bombs."
I will tell him that for you, brother. That'll be the first thing I'll tell him.
And by the way, dude, his book Shoe Dog was pretty decent, but your book Max Out Your Life, which is a freaking kick-ass and quick read. Anybody that doesn't have a copy of that, I'd go get it. Dude, it's almost like right there you told him exactly how to achieve pretty much everything.
Yeah, you just got it. Like you try to find different ways to say it, and that affects different people over time. That's the battle, right? Once you've been on creating content for a while, you know this. It's trying to find another way to deliver a very similar message that's more impactful or entertaining when you do it. And I'm still doing it. If you'd have told me 4 or 5 years ago, I'd be creating content every single day on entrepreneurship and self-help and being happier and fitness, I'd have thought you were out of your damn mind. I cannot believe I do this every single day. But it's become my life. Like, it's literally the centerpiece of my life now is doing this.
Dude, I told you that I was sitting out at Lake Mead. I got a new boat, and so I found one of the coves everybody goes to, and I'm running into this guy, and he starts talking to my buddy Zach, and next thing you know, he said something about Eddie Mylett, and I'm listening, and I hear Eddie Mylett. And so I listen a little closer. The dude's talking about Eddie Mylett, little baseball player he grew up with, little skinny kid walking around playing baseball, kind of quiet, not even real aggressive. And your wife, Christiana, like he knows you from like grade school. I didn't know you and your wife been together so long.
Yeah, grade school and then dated in high school.
Yeah, see, that's another thing that's rare nowadays.
That's also why I still have my money. I've never been divorced. That helps.
Well, dude, like Bezos, I always tell people if I ever get divorced, dude, I hope she takes hundreds of millions of dollars.
Because that means you got hundreds of millions left after.
Yes.
I get that.
See, Ed, most people, like when they wake up in the morning, they're dreading the circumstances of the day, and that mindset limits their ability to believe in abundance and other things and possibility and hope and activate their reticular activating system and like focus in on all the shit you say and like, success leaves clues, but nobody's picking them up. What the hell you think the problem is?
I think that's a good question. I think the reason I'm pretty decent at personal development and entrepreneurship is because I also had all of those thoughts. Like my family kind of, we never dreamed. We never went on vacation. I think there's a little bit of this thing in my family that maybe successful people got what they got through ill-gotten means a little bit, a little bit of that. No one's impressed with anything material in my family at all. No one could care less to this day. And then I just had a lot of insecurities and I am shy, whatever that guy told you. And you know this from knowing me too. I am introverted. And I think I'm pretty good at this. Cause if you're thinking something stupid, I probably thought it. And that's why I help people pretty well. Like if you're doing something stupid, I probably already did it. Let me save you some time. And then I know what I replaced it with. So I know what I replaced my insecurities with. I know how I built my self-confidence. I know how I developed my ability to public speak when it was my greatest fear.
How? Right? How did you do that? Modeling
people who were good at it. So I watched a ton a ton. It's funny, people go, how come most of your friends I see with you socially are stand-up comedians? Because a lot of them are my friends. They've been on my show because I was fans of theirs from learning. The highest form of public speaking to me is stand-up comedy, which you could do. You are the only person legitimately in the personal development entrepreneur space who right now, and you've done it, you know this, could walk out and be a legit touring stand-up comic. You could do that. And you're the only one who could do it. And that skill of speaking in public and how they nuance silence when they do it, how they use humor, how they take risks. So it was those guys, and then believe it or not, televangelist faith healers on TV, watching those two and starting to model them, and then coming out originally and playing a little bit of a character, meaning it was me, but it had to be like the Superman version of me. And over time, I went, wow, I you know what? I do have a deep voice. I do know what I'm talking about. And then over time, it started to become more and more impactful. And then it's, it's grown into what like I'm probably known most for is not known, but like one of my easiest skills now is large stage speaking. I'm very comfortable doing that now.
Dude, you get paid big dollars to do that. Do you ever do that just for fun for your friends?
Try not to do as much of that as I used to because everybody asks you. So yeah, I know that you do that. You're very generous with that. So I do a little of it.
Yeah, but what if they're your friend?
Oh, are you trying to ask me right now? Is that what you're
I'm just wondering if they're your friend. Does that matter at all? Or
it matters, sure.
Now listen,
don't put that out on the internet anywhere.
Yeah, and by the way, keep in mind, folks, when you have someone that speaks professionally, number one, number two, will get there privately. You have to realize that like they're going to spend 20 G's just to come do you a favor.
I'm doing one in Florida as a favor this weekend, and it's a $40,000 favor out of my pocket.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So I know you and I are speaking at the American Blue Collar Dream Conference.
Are we? Okay. Dude,
and by the way, that's a cool name for an event, don't you think?
Yeah. Are they having Larry the Cable Guy there or anybody else?
I don't know. They got me, I think, instead, but they got you, which is the big one, dude. When
is that? When is that?
I don't know. It's like March or June or something.
Oh, okay, cool.
Maybe March, maybe April, May, maybe June. I don't know. June or March.
Are we doing it in person? Am I going to see you or is it a Zoomer?
I'm going. Are you Zooming?
No. If you're going, I'll go.
I'm come going, pick you up. Bro.
Where is it?
Florida, Fort Lauderdale.
I'll pick you up. We'll go.
Shut up, dude. You ain't picking me up. Are you really?
No, I'll pick you up. We'll go.
Dude,
we'll do it.
That, oh my God, dude. That right there is now going to have a little check on my bucket list.
Let's do it.
Dude, riding in the old Global Express. What's that like?
Awesome. Now that's awesome. So you give me going to the houses, like it's embarrassing, but I'm going to tell you, having a jet and a real one is really cool. Like that is a thing. Sometimes you wake up in your house and you're in a bad mood and it's still just your house, right? But the airplane, honestly, is something that I'm on and I just go, I cannot, that's even one of those things. I don't know how to word it, but like, wow, I'm here right now. Like, really? I'm doing this? Me? Do these people have any idea how stupid I am? You know what I mean? Like that part of it still to me is just, I think having a private jet, and friends of mine that had them before me, and I would not encourage anybody to do this until like you just have money you don't care about, because it's the dumbest financial thing in the world. But it's one of those things it's a mind blower, and you just walk on it, you're like, wow, and I own this. Like this is mine. It's crazy to me. And mine's cool. It's got hit a button, the bed comes out, and Ellison put a shower on it. Like it's bananas. It's just I'm giddy every time I'm on it.
Dude, how long is it for Wheels Up? What's the longest duration for Wheels Up? Like right now, if I said, hey, Ed, get up here, we're doing this and this, and you got to be here quick. What is like, you make a phone call within 30 minutes, your Wheels Up?
Yeah, anywhere, I think. Like I know I can go to, LA to London really easy. I think we're going to South Africa in the summer. I'm probably wrong, so the pilots will correct me on this, but my pilot was telling me the other day I can go to, and guys, correct me if I'm wrong, I can go Hawaii, back to Hawaii, and halfway back again.
On one tank?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah, but how fast can you get off the ground from anywhere you are in the world at any given time?
Oh, if I want to go, like, hey, we're going?
Yeah.
Probably an hour.
So you're an hour away from going anywhere in the world with anyone you want.
I'll sell you the dream about this. So, yeah, the other night, this is cool, because the world shrinks. So, like, normally I'm sitting at home like, hey, babe, where do you want to go to dinner? Well, everything in Southern Cal is closed or outdoor seating, right? So we're like Laguna Beach. We'll go to Mastro's or whatever. And I go, the Ocean Club in Scottsdale's open. And she's like, what are you talking about? I go, take an hour. Let's go to Scottsdale. So we literally called my pilot, boom, fueled up. About an hour and a half later, got on the plane, had dinner in Scottsdale, had a great time, flew back home. It was awesome.
Back in bed before 11.
I was in bed at 10:45, brother. I'm not exaggerating.
Dude,
I was.
Dude, now, the reason I keep pounding this is because, folks, if you're listening, it is possible. Other than you being cool and all that normal shit, there's nothing special about you. You didn't get it handed to you. There was no, or was there? Was there a mentor that taught you how to do this, or did you just naturally find your way to this type of success?
Certainly no. First, to be very clear, I'm not gifted. So I don't have, and I don't say this out of any false sense of humility. I have a really very average IQ. In fact, my wife, my children, and I just about a year ago did our IQ test. I was fourth in my own house. So my IQ's not that high. I'm not 6'4". I don't have any connections. I didn't grow up with any relationships or connections like that. I did have a dad who had a lot of presence, man. My dad is a dude. Like, my dad had a ton of personal presence, unbelievable work ethic. And then over time, like most people, I picked up a couple virtual mentors, like a Tony Robbins from a distance initially. Then obviously we became friends. No, I've found my way through things and really just outworked people when I got there. Now, here's what I did do. I found things that I was naturally pretty gifted at to do, meaning I kind of became aware in my early 20s of things I was good at. I was a good communicator. I am intense. I am competitive, right? Like, I do have a heart to serve people. I'm good with words, right? I'm good with words. I'm good with thinking on my feet when I got to come up with something to say. I probably could have been a lawyer, right? Like, and so I picked a career that kind of naturally went with my proclivities. I don't think enough people do that. Like, take an inventory. What are the 3 or 4 things you're great at? Don't be humble about it. Your nurturing skills, your humor, your looks, your listening ability, your resiliency, your toughness, your math skills, problem solving, equanimity, which is peace under pressure. Like, what are your skills? And then do something for a living that takes advantage of those things you're good at. LeBron James isn't stupid. He figured out, I'm 6'8", I'm 260 pounds, I run a 4.40, I can jump out of the gym. Maybe I should be an athlete, right? Like, he's not dumb. Would LeBron James been the most incredible motivational speaker of all time? Probably not, right? But what I'm not is 6'8", 260, 4.40, can't jump out of the gym. So we both pick something that are suited to our natural skill sets. And what most people do is they think the only natural gifts are the biggies. They got to look like Brad Lee, or they got to jump like LeBron James. And that's not it. You have 2 or 3 or 4, not 10. You got 2, 3, 4. Use those in businesses or in capacities that serve people. Last point. My middle sister was born with diabetes. She's blind. She can see shadows. She can't drive. And I don't know what Andrea makes a year, but I'm going to guess it's less than $40,000 a year. I could be wrong. She's my sister. I love her, but she doesn't make any money. Okay. My sister's as successful a person or more successful than me, because she's the sweetest, kindest, most patient teacher you'll ever meet in your life. She chose a career that is perfect for her giftedness. And as a result, she's a very blissful, happy person. Very blissful and happy, took advantage of her skills. She can't even see, yet she makes difference in hundreds of children's lives. Like, it's an awesome life she has. I'm not more successful than her. I'm richer than her because my skills let me do businesses that made money. And so that's all everybody's got to get focused on. And then this stuff gets pretty easy.
Would you rather be blissful and happy like her, or rich like you?
I'm also blissful and happy. And I've been happy poor and happy rich. And happy rich is way better. I'm just telling you.
Dude, what are 3 books that if you were going to tell Max, dude, I can't give you any more information. Here's the 3 books you got to read. Good luck to you. Like, that's the last 3 bits of information you could give him. What books would you give him?
He already reads them. He would read the Bible. He would read Think and Grow Rich. And then he would read the book I'm writing right now. But since he can't read the one that I'm writing right now, there's a whole bunch of other ones in there that I could replace it with. But probably How a Man Thinketh. Am I saying that right? As a Man Thinketh by James Allen.
As a Man Thinketh.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Dude, listen, I mean, at the end of the day, I think people are too busy trying to complicate things and thinking there's these secrets to being successful. Sometimes when I'm telling people, here's what I've learned to be successful, that's where I kind of feel almost imposter syndrome. Why? Well, because I know guys like you. I know guys that have done 10 times. Like, who am I to be talking about how to succeed? I haven't even succeeded yet. It's not it's not humility though. But it's not humility.
I wonder in some cases with you, because you do that a lot, and I'm just saying to you, I wonder sometimes if you do that a little excessively. Like, you are successful.
I've been waiting for this. See, this is a therapy session for Brad Lea one-on-one with Ed Mylett. How much would this cost people?
A lot. But I'm going to tell you, with you, like, you're so impressive. I'm not just saying this. Whatever. We can talk about anything today. You're so impressive to me that I like that you have humility, and I like that you show respect to people that are successful. But I think sometimes, man, like, I don't think you're aware of the presence and impact you have. And that may be one of the things. Like, I've told you this. I'm not on your, everyone knows this. My favorite content on CD is the real Brad Lea. It's my favorite stuff. I only really truthfully watch like 2 or 3 people anymore. It's you. When my phone rings, if it's your name, I want to pick it up, right? Also relentless. Like, you won't have a lot of phone calls with Brad Lea. Eventually, Lightspeed's going to come up. And I like that. We eventually get back to Lightspeed. So I think that you do a little too much of that. And I wonder if your impact would even be a little bit bigger if you just notch that down just a skosh. Because, the truth is, I didn't do a lot of that. Like, I was giving myself credit, and I think that credit started to stack and fed my identity to where I then thought that of myself, and my life filled in that identity. And I think if you keep talking about yourself like this, maybe that's why your life keeps staying at that place, as opposed to start to speak to yourself with a little bit more reverence. You never speak about reverence with yourself.
See, this is what I mean by more professional and deep and real. Like, see, dude, I'm the real Brad Lea. You should be the real Ed Mylett. Because you keep, dude, that shit's real.
Yeah.
Like, people
in your case, it is, Brad. Like, I think that other people see you. This is a dangerous place to be in, everybody. When other people see you as more impactful, powerful, influential, potentially maybe than you do. I'm not talking about ego. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about capacity and believing enough in yourself that the external conditions end up meeting up with the internal dialogue and reputation you have with yourself. And in Brad's case, I'm always a little perplexed by it because I feel like there's a lot of humility there. And this is, by the way, Brad's this is a good little thing because most of you go, no, I'm confident. Well, you're confident compared to the you 5 years ago. But are you confident compared to what you're actually capable of? Like, when Brad is one of the most capable people I know. He is. I'm just saying it. And yet sometimes I don't know that internal dialogue or that internal belief, even for someone like Brad, is where it should be relative to what his capacity is. And so is that the governor that he keeps bumping up on? It's just worth considering for Brad and everybody else listening to this.
Well, I'm telling you, yes. So now the question is, well, how do I fix that?
Embracing a little bit. First off, in your case, one of the places you'd garner a lot more self-confidence from is if you started, because I know your heart, if you started to give yourself credit for what your really good intentions are. I think everything with you is like business plan, execution, talent level. You're one of the very rare people, bro. Like, you're a good man. Like, everyone I know likes you. Even the guys who don't like anybody. Like, our mutual friends are like 3 people love you, right? And when you leave them, I hear often, hey, Brad was here. Dude, what a great time I had with him. I hear that often. So I don't think enough people give themselves credit for their intentions. Think about this for a minute. What if my entire life, all my confidence was predicated on my capacity at every single stage? Am I that smart? Can I walk in this room? Can I own it? Am I the brightest guy? Do I have the best ideas? Will I execute? Do I have the best capital, the best team? If every part of my confidence was predicated on my capacity, I'd always be trailing it. So at one point I went, you know what? I outwork everyone's freaking ass, and I'm a good human. I deserve this. And so my confidence started coming from my good intentions. Believe it or not, that's not hollow. I still do it. We're getting on the show today. I'm busy. I know I'm going to crush this. Why? I want to serve people. I have no other purpose in doing this today than I want to serve people. And so my A game will flood out of me because I deserve to do well today, because the reason I want to do well is I want to make a difference for some other person, and I want to do well for my friend Brad. So you don't give yourself credit for your intentions. And me and you both know a bunch of fakes in our space, and we know some dudes who have accumulated a little bit of money, but I don't know that their intentions are as pure as me and you, right? So you don't give yourself enough credit for that. In my mind, that's a place where confidence could come from for you.
Deep, bro. And you're probably right. I mean, dude, you're hitting it on the head. I don't know why I'm like that. Like I said, I just tell it like it is. It's because
you've won in spite of it, Brad. You are so talented and such a good dude and have such good products and are so overly to a fault generous with people that you do deals with. People don't know this about you, but it's a truth, that you're winning in spite of the fact that you think about yourself and talk the way, because you are so damn talented. But if you line those two things up, you'd be scary. You would be scary. And that's the only difference with me and you. At one point, I just lined it up. I'm like, I've met all these people. I'm actually a halfway decent human being. Like, I deserve to do well. I want to help people. I want to be fair. I'm relatively moral and ethical most of the time. Like, I deserve to do well. And a lot more of my confidence started trailing that than the other stuff.
Dude, this is a freaking masterclass on building confidence. I'll tell you right now, too, man, there's a lot of people that need a little confidence. You know, it's funny because I'm listening to you on how to build my confidence. Most people are asking me about how to build their confidence.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is I keep promises to myself. My confidence comes from, by and large, I keep the promises that I make to myself. When I meet somebody who's not confident, I'm like, this is your fault. Nobody else's, man. You keep breaking promises to yourself. You say you're going to eat a certain way and then you don't. You say you're going to make an amount of contacts a day, you don't. You say you got to start doing what you say you're going to do, and you start building a reputation with yourself on small things. Then when you line your mind up for a big thing, you have momentum and a reputation where you're like, I'm going to hit the big one now. But if you can't get out of bed when you say you're going to, if you can't put in your mouth what you say you're going to, if you can't reach the contacts you say you're going to, how the hell are you going to become worth $100 million? Your brain doesn't believe you because it can't even keep the other promises. But you start keeping the small ones, then the big ones become easier.
Dude, 100%. And I'll tell you, what's funny is my team the other day, yesterday or the day before, I think the day before maybe, text me and said, is Ed Milet confirmed for Monday? And I said, yeah, why? Well, he hasn't responded. I said, don't panic. If Ed said he'll be there at 1 o'clock on Monday, he'll be there at 1 o'clock on Monday unless something major happens. And she goes, okay.
Thank you. Oh, I am here.
Well, I mean, I just knew because you agreed. You said, yes, I knew you'd be here, even though she was like, he hasn't responded. Dude, if you're like me, you get 600 emails when you wake up. Some of them are spam. Some of them are real. So now you got to thumb through them. And then ultimately, by the time you get back from lunch, there might be another 100 in there. And now the ones that you were thinking about getting back to are now 4 pages deep, and you don't go that far.
Yeah, it concerns me because that certainly isn't me replying. It concerns me that someone on my team didn't get back. But yeah, that's a sign of respect is to reply, though. I'm surprised my team.
Well, I don't, dude. Hey, I don't want to get nobody in trouble. That's just what they told me. Maybe.
No, I'm sure it's true. I'm gonna look into that.
but what you just said, dude, hits it on the head. Now, when I get off this podcast, I'm going to be thinking, okay, how do I apply that? Because again, most people, they can't take criticism. Number one, because again, this is, to me, is positive feedback, and it's hypnotherapy, and it's psychological breakdown. Why? Well, because, dude, you're watching me, and I don't get to watch myself like that.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And sometimes, when someone says something that I'm like, yep, well, then I don't bullshit myself and be like, well, yeah, that's a good observation. However, no, like that hit it right on the head. So how do I stop doing that? Well, giving myself a little bit of credit. It's happening a little bit more and more lately. However, again, there's still that, I think it's all based on perception. I don't think I've done all that well. Mm-hmm. I haven't given millions to charity. I don't have a freaking jet. I don't have freaking trophy homes. Should I? In my opinion, absolutely.
Yes.
I just don't. And I don't necessarily know why, but if that's the reason, is because technically I don't think that I deserve that.
Brad, I'm 100% positive that's what it is, just so you know.
Deep down.
Yeah, deep down, 100% positive that that's what it is with you, because it's not a lack of talent, opportunity, connections, relationships, and you're already very successful.
I know, but like,
you,
I don't like calling people with bogus shit. So I just don't. Like that's why people take my call, Ed. I don't call and try to sell you something all the time, do I?
never. No, we talk about your business, but no, you do not try to do that all the time. And I avoid calls from people that we know that do that just every single phone call.
All right,
but you do have a habit, and people do this a lot. People have a habit of telling you their current or their old story. A lot of people have to tell you their old story. Here's my old story. I used to be this. This happened to me. My mom did this. My dad did that. Here's where I really am. Here's this divorce I had. Here was my bankruptcy. I was a high school football player. I was a millionaire. That's one version. Then there's a little small group that does what you do. They're always telling themselves their current story. Yeah, I could be successful, but I only have this much money in the bank. Yeah, I could be successful, but I live here. Yeah, but they tell their current story. Champions are aware of those stories, but are constantly telling the new story. And they're creating a new chapter in their book. They're constantly messaging it. And I'm not talking about speak it into the universe. I'm talking about someone like Brad already walks the walk, already works like it, already looks like it, already thinks like it. But he doesn't talk the talk. He talks a lot about where he is. Listen to the interview back again. Hey, man, I'm not where I'm doing okay, but I'm not where you are. Where I am is this, 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 and this. Well, okay, you're just repeating it over and over and over again. No kidding.
So should I? Well, because to me, dude, I'm trying to keep shit real. Like I don't want to walk in like I got a 12-inch dick and turns out I got a freaking 3-foot nub hiding in the hair.
3 foot.
I mean,
is bigger than 12 inches. See, you just did it again. You can't see, even when you try to minimize yourself, the real one was better than the fake one. Everyone would rather have a 3-foot nub, dog, than a 12-incher. What are you talking about?
No, I would not. No, I would not. And be honest, dude. A big one is not. Listen, Ed, this is off subject, but I got to share it with the world, dude. Having a huge dick is not necessarily as fun as you think. So trust me, be happy. Listen, be happy with what you have, bro. Listen, if people are out there right now wanting a 3-foot dick, number one, that's ridiculous. But even a 12-incher, dude, it's not fun. Yes, it may be fun to show. It may be fun to show, but it's not fun after that. Be happy.
That's good to know, man. The good news about meeting my wife so young is I think she does think that's 3 feet, which is awesome. So,
well, here's why I'm pissed, because I know that you were going to be brilliant, but I knew I'm going to keep the cussing down to a minimum, because Ed won't share this, even though he might want to. He won't share it. He won't use it. He won't do nothing with it if it's filled with a bunch of F-bombs and vulgarity. And I went the whole time, I think, unless I hear it back, without it, and I just ruined it with the old.
It just leaked out, didn't it? Well, dude, you want the world to know about your foot long. I don't blame you. That's a big deal.
Well, listen to this, dude. A company called Manscaped called and said, "Hey, you want a sponsor for your podcast?" And I'm like, I'll never get sponsors for my podcast if it's like, boner pills or just stuff I don't want to be associated with. But Manscaped, I'm like, dude, I like Manscaped. I own Manscaped shit. Like, I stay Manscaped.
Yep.
Like, who doesn't stay Manscaped?
I'm Manscaped. I can vouch for that.
Well, who wouldn't be Do you use Manscaped?
I don't think I use Manscaped.
Dude, there's a company that specializes in tools that get you trimmed below the waist without snagging the old beanbag.
Really?
Oh, yeah, dude. Manscaped.
Send me some. Are we plugging them right now? Is that what we're doing?
I'll send you some. No, but I'm considering taking their sponsorship because I believe in it. Like, if you're walking, yeah. Well, if you're walking, well, I guess this could be considered that, but that's not what it is. I just think that, like, people that walk around not in their best condition screws with them mentally. I've kind of procrastinated getting in really good shape. That's probably a trigger. The fact that I know so many people that are far more successful than I financially, and that's what I got to start, also doing. Financially, people have a little bit more than me. But as far as good human beings, dude, there ain't many, better human beings than me. I know that.
That's a fact. And if the success is based on having a rock star wife and beautiful little ones, you're doing really well there too. We still talk about your kids, man. Like, you got a lot. You're blessed.
Yes, I am blessed. And, dude, that's the fact. I am blessed. And you know what? Let me tell you something. Most people say they have an angel on their shoulder. I believe, I swear to you, that I've got 2 angels guiding me through. I believe there's 2 of them, and one of them's Michael. Because, dude, like, I shouldn't be anywhere near where I am, for damn sure. And it seems like everywhere I turn, dude, I'm just as lucky as you can get.
Wow. See, I like this version of you right here. I like this.
But I am lucky, bro. I'm as lucky as they come. Like, dude, if you want to freaking look up luck in the dictionary, old BL's face is going to be sitting there like this.
That's awesome.
Dude, I'm lucky. Like I'm a lucky dude. But at the end of the day, you know, how do I make that switch? You're saying just give myself credit. Easier
I'm
said
not saying
than
that's
done.
the
How
only
does one
switch.
do
I'm
that?
saying I think you should be conscious of not repeating your current story all the time. I think you
Okay.
should be conscious about the language you use about yourself. I think you should give yourself more credit for your intentions. I think you need to start to look outside and see what other people see when they listen and look at you a little bit more, because you do suffer from that. I'm not saying that's the entire picture. I'm saying that would go a really, really long way, because you're already at a very high level. So when you're at a decent level, guys, like the shifts are small. They're fine-tuning type adjustments all the time. Then you find your rhythm and your formula. And in your case, it's also just, you know, for me, in your case, it's like, I'd like to see you be intentional about going to a different level. I'd like to see you doing stand-up. I'd like to see you doing leveraging your presence more for more media stuff.
Well, you know,
But I know yeah.
you know, someone dared me to do stand-up, and I popped up and did 23 minutes of it.
Yeah, and crushed from what I heard.
Well,
Yeah, I
again,
know.
dude, listen, I agree with you that it's the highest form of public speaking.
Yes.
I think I bombed terribly compared to a professional with timing. Like, in other words, my 23 minutes
Yep.
could have been condensed to a hilarious, gut-busting 7.
Mm-hmm.
And if any professional comedian took my material and delivered it properly, they would crush it. I think the material's funny, but the problem is again, and maybe this is a limiting belief of mine, but dude, it's about balls and stupid shit. Like, you know, I walk out and I'm like, who decided that balls meant courage? Like, if that were true, old men would be really, really courageous, and they're not necessarily courageous. So, like, I don't understand why we got 2 either. Like, you know, but then I figured, you know, it's probably because, you know, reach over and rub my ball sounds weird.
That's awesome, dude.
And I went on and I went on, and it was stupid shit, bro. You know,
Right.
it was really, you know, juvenile humor, although it was funny. Now, would you go out and do juvenile humor, or would you find some intelligent shit to talk about?
No, I would do what comes naturally to you, which is this. And you, by the way, you do both types of humor, but like, so you did it again. You're like, well, it was good, but a professional would have, you know, you immediately go into this pattern of like
So before I forget,
self-deprecation.
okay, so should I have said, dude, I freaking crushed it, man. I'm one of the best comedians ever. I know that if I did this intentionally, shit, dude, I'd be one of the biggest comedians that ever spoke. You should have been there.
No,
And now, what if
no.
someone was there? What if someone was there and they thought, dude, did you hear him? What a freaking braggadocious dipshit. Like, holy moly. And now, when I was young, Ed, I don't know if you know this, but let me give you this for my psychology to factor it into your coaching.
Okay.
When I was young at 6 years old, I lied to everybody in my neighborhood saying that we were rich when we weren't.
You told me on my show. I know this.
Yeah, so everybody freaking gave me the freaking cold shoulder for years. Well, I don't remember how long it was, but it seemed like forever. And maybe that trauma of being rejected stems from that. And now I don't want to do that at all. So now I go technically the opposite. You know what I mean? It's
I think there's somewhere in between. I think what would have been like, I think that's what you do. You reduce it to the ridiculous so that no, should you have gone out and said I'm the greatest comedian in the world? No. So that means then by de facto, you should not project into the future that you'd be good at it. Like, so you projected all the way the most ridiculous, stupid thing you could say as if there's nothing in between. So the in-between would be, you know what, man, I walked out. I'm a complete amateur. I do 23 minutes. How many people walking the earth could walk out and do 23 seconds in front of people? I crushed it pretty good, man. I got a lot of laughs. I enjoyed doing it. I was in a pretty good flow. I figured out some stuff I need to tweak so I could do it even better. But you know what, man? It's kind of maybe a place I belong. I felt like I was kind of at home. I was pretty good at it. And I could see myself getting a whole lot better because that was my first time. And I've heard dudes have really bombed their first time. And I didn't really bomb. In fact, I got a lot of laughs. I'm going to work on it.
Dude,
That's where I would be.
hey, listen, I think you could be a comedian.
Yeah, well, Maybe.
Who's your favorite comedian? What type of style do you like best?
A bunch of them are all friends of mine, but probably my favorite dude right now is Sebastian Maniscalco. He's Italian. He's hilarious. If you guys know Sebastian from Netflix, he's been on my show. He's right up there, man. I like all kinds of, though. Jim Gaffigan, I think, is hilarious. If you know Jim. Just all these dudes. Like, there's a ton of them that I just think are absolutely, totally brilliant. I think Chappelle is probably my favorite. Like, if I had to pick a dude who I just think he's just got so much swag. And what I like about Chappelle is comfortable with silence. He'll put it out there and he'll just sit back and let you roll in the laugh a little bit, right? And let it breathe. And I've learned that in my speaking. I'm such kind of a bull in a china shop, one thing after the other. I need to let some of it breathe a little bit when I make a point. Let it breathe. Maybe not say something equally brilliant the next time. Like, package it in there a little bit and let it breathe. Chappelle does that in an unbelievable way. Just little things he does, like, it's subtle, but it's all techniques about, when he does something real good, how he bonks his head with the mic, and kind of just falls out a little bit. It lets you fall out, and your body language mirrors his body language. And so he gets you to mirror him from the stage. It's awesome little things that he does. And so there's a bunch of dudes, man. And by the way, Nikki Glazer's been on my show. I think she's awesome. Whitney Cummings has been on my show. She's brilliant. So I don't want to just say dudes. I think there's tons of hilarious women too.
Well, I can tell you that Chappelle is a master storyteller.
Yeah.
And
so is Sebastian.
Yeah. Well, I know who he is. I think he's funny. I don't think he's as funny as Chappelle, but he is a funny son of a bitch. And he's one of the highest paid, so it doesn't matter how funny he is. He's laughing all the way to the bank.
Yeah, I think Sebastian had a bigger tour before COVID than even Kevin Hart.
Yeah, like I was reading about Sebastian, or I never pronounce his name right, but that dude's funny as hell. But more importantly, he rakes the freaking dollars in, bro. You know him, right? So is he like a business? Is his business acumen high?
I don't know that I know that. I know that he's a very smart man.
So how is he making more money than other people? Is he working more, asking more?
Well, my observation is that he's incredibly hardworking. His Netflix specials have really elevated him a great deal. And he's really serious about his career. Like, Sebastian's an actor. He's been in, multiple movies, I believe even Oscar movies where he's played different characters. And so he's also, like, a lot of comedians that I've met are very serious people off stage. Like, they're funny, but they're very serious. I would say, from what I know about Sebastian, that he's a very serious guy. Like, he's hilarious, but he's very thoughtful and serious. And, I really, really enjoy him. He's a real person. He's smart. You know what I'm saying? He's a smart guy. That's what you all have. You have it too. Incredibly high IQ, man, to be able to process information that quickly and put words together, like to walk out on a stage. Because, like, when I walk out to speak, people have paid already for the most part. Like, they kind of want to like me, right? Like, they kind of want to like me. But in comedy, there's a lot of people out there who want to not like you. Like, make me laugh, man. You got to win me over. That is not easy to do, and you can do that. It's a super unique talent. You're in deep thought.
Who are the religious or faith-based evangelists that you modeled yourself after?
I don't think I modeled, but I watched little things they do. So Billy Graham, a guy named Rob Parsley,
TD Jakes,
Creflo Dollar. Let me think. Joyce Meyer.
And dude, you're big into your faith.
Yes.
Now, have you and
Benny Hinn?
Hey, have you and I ever discussed the name? Like, we all say Jesus when his name was actually Yahshua.
You told me that, yeah.
Yeah, but did we ever discuss it? Did you ever give me any counsel on that? Like, what's your thoughts on that? Why it doesn't make sense to me. If I said, "Hey Ed, call me Bradley," and by the way, if anybody asks, please tell them my name's Bradley, and then someone else changes it to Bubba, and 200 years later, everybody's saying, hey, thanks to Bubba, and Bubba told me, and praise Bubba, when I specifically said, don't forget my name, sing praise to it. Give credit to it, call upon it. It's pretty important. And then everyone changed it to Bubba. What do you think of that?
Okay, so people ask me that all the time. How do you line up some of the inconsistencies or things like that? Number one, both of those are stories that have been repeated from thousands of years ago. So neither one of us know that he really said, "Call me Yahshua." We've
That's
read
what the
that as
scripture
another.
says.
I know, but I'm saying that. I'm saying that they're two different. That scripture was written. The point that I think I'm making is that people to discount faith say, "Hey, the Bible was written 50 to 100 years, 150 years after Jesus died," right? And to which I would say, yeah. And so I'm not a literalist in the sense that I believe the only words of God were written in the Bible. Like that'd be like thinking that if you wrote a book about stuff I've said or done in my life, that the only things I said or did were in that book. There's a bunch of stuff not in the book. It's just a record that's been translated over a bunch of time. So for me, faith means there's a bunch of stuff I don't know and I don't understand that I don't surrender to. But the reason that I know that there's a God in heaven, and then the reason that I know that you know that, even if you don't know that,
I know it. I know
you've sought the answer to it since you were a little boy. It's the primary question of your life that's on your heart and your soul is, what's the truth? Where do I go when I leave here? Right? And I think God reveals themselves to people in different ways, different images. Like I'm pretty sure Jesus wasn't a white guy with a beard with long hair. He had much darker skin than that. So there's imagery that's different. But since I was a little boy, that's the picture in my head that he's been revealed to me. It's of no consequence to me if he was 4 inches shorter or taller, or he was a black man or lighter skinned or blonde hair or green eyes. These things are of no consequence to me. Or a woman. It's his presence in my life. I happen to believe that he was a man. I happen to believe the story of the Bible. I happen to believe that he was resurrected. I believe those things. But what I'm suggesting to you is not all of it, I believe, is accurately translated, every single word, nor is the totality of his message. But my life is a living example of having that faith in him. And I don't preach that. Like, I also believe in the quantum field. I believe in energy. I'm a product of, I just happen to believe that a creator of the universe created the quantum field that we can plug into with vibrational frequency. I'm a big reason me and you connect. Our energies are similar. We vibrate at a very high frequency, you and I, a very similar frequency. Human beings you connect to, it's an energy connection. I don't believe, I'm one of these people that doesn't believe in any of that stuff. I believe in the combination of both. Now we're getting heavy.
Well, yeah, but that's why I knew this would be a carpet bomb today. Dude, what's keeping you up at night? Like what's bothering you, or what's one thing you wish you could conquer that's giving you a little trouble? Is there anything?
In what?
That's giving you a little trouble. Is there anything that you are having issues with?
Yeah, personally, I would like to be more easily happy all the time. So on a personal level, I still have to work at being happy, meaning like I got to work at, look how blessed I am. Look at this. Like I'd like to be more like my wife, where she just wakes up happy. Her default disposition. My wife's emotional home is bliss and happiness. My emotional home is consternation, chaos, anxiety, and then I work into bliss. And I get there, but I'd love to wake up and just have it, right? So that'd be one for me, just being transparent. And then in the world, I don't like how we treat each other. It really bothers me the way human beings interact and treat each other. We treat each other worse than maybe not worse than we ever have, because we've killed each other for millions of years, but I just don't like the dynamic between human beings, the lack of connectivity. You know this, you've made posts before, people literally want to kill you because they don't agree with something you said about the coronavirus or something. Like, it's just way, way, way too dialed up in the world. And that's not how humans should live amongst each other.
Hey, do you think, like, when it boils down to it, the difference between success and failure is all in the head, or do you believe in there's luck, timing, and shit like that?
I believe there is some luck and timing, but I believe the vast majority of that luck and timing is found calibrated in your head. To go back to it, if you can get yourself vibrating at the right frequencies, get your reticular activating system seeing the prospects and people and things that you need, that there's an inevitability to the success. The luck and the timing element could speed it up. So I've had some great luck and timing in my life, but I can tell you, so that's one of the elements. But had those not happened, I would have inevitably gotten there because of the way I think and the way I act. Just the timing of it would be different. So the luck of it, the blessing of it has been the time of it. But I'd have found another mentor. I'd have found another business. Because I'm moving in that direction. I'm thinking in that direction. So yeah, there's a luck and timing element. You know this. Anybody who says I didn't have any good fortune happen, they're delusional. I've certainly had some things fall into place. But I've done it enough times over and over again, Brad, like in multiple places in different industries, that I believe there's a recipe and a formula. I believe there's a way of thinking and acting that if you do that consistently enough, the success is inevitable. What's variable is the timing of it. Timing is luck-based to some extent.
Dude, how many people try to call you and text you and pick your brain on a regular basis?
A lot, I don't know. I get hundreds of messages every single day, like you said earlier, and I need to do a better job of insulating myself. I have this very weird thing that just this year I stopped doing. You noticed it even with you. I couldn't go to bed till I responded to everybody every given day. And then this year I'm like, I have to surrender. Like, I will get back to them, but I can't do it all every single day. So I would say hundreds. What's cool about it is, you and I haven't talked about this in a while, but like who I get to work with privately, who I have NDAs with, and I get to coach and mentor has changed a lot the last 2 or 3 years. And I am blown away and honored by some of the people I've got to mentor and influence and work with who are far more influential than I am. And that's a really cool thing, to get to help people at an extremely high level, because it challenges me. I got to come up with really good stuff to help someone who's already got most of it together. So it's not the amount of it that's fun for me. It's who some of them are and how they influence different things. It's really super cool.
Dude, do you ever like get beside yourself when you're sitting there talking to these people thinking, dude, I'm coaching frickin' so-and-so and so-and-so?
Yes. Happened this morning. I had a 4 a.m. call with someone abroad who is a former world leader. And it's happened twice when I talked to him. I'm like, why is he listening to me? Certainly. And then I kind of come back into the conversation again and give him what I can. And I have imposter syndrome sometimes. I still have to, not a lot, but I do have it. I had it this morning. It's really funny that you asked me that, because Christiane and I had breakfast afterwards, and I'm like, she goes, how did it go? I go, there's about a 4-minute window in there where I got a little bit goofy. Like, I was like floating above the conversation. Like, I can't believe I'm talking to this dude. And why is he listening to me? And then I kind of got back into it. And by the way I got back into it, not to go back, I'm like, my intentions are good and I have a track record. And this shit I'm about to tell him is legit. And I got back into it.
That's an anchor point you use to get yourself in that state.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, dude, I feel like I owe you $100,000, man. Like, this is like a freaking been a Brad session.
Probably heavier than good for dropping bombs, but we had some bombs in there nonetheless.
Oh, dude, nothing's too heavy for dropping bombs, man. That's why, listen, I'm telling you right now, if people are listening to this and they're not sharing it out, I just knew it'd be the one everybody wants to share out.
Thanks, man.
I don't care that I'm used as the example, and I appreciate your authenticity and your honesty, because guess what? You're 100% correct. And if I can't make these changes because I can't see myself, then basically I go on for years and years and years. It's like walking up to a dude and you see a booger in his nose and you don't say nothing. I think you're a dickhead.
So do I.
Like you really want to let that person go walk around the room with that same booger going in and out with their breath when you saw it and you didn't want to say nothing?
Yep. That'd be like seeing your 3-foot thing and not at least acknowledging its greatness. Like, how do you not acknowledge that? But you got to say something, right? Dude. One thing on the coaching thing, I just want to say, you don't get to choose how they say it to you. So too many people are like, well, I'll take advice, but you have to say it the way I like it. Don't say it in public, or, don't raise your voice, or that's not how it works. You don't get to choose the way your coach coaches you, right? And too many people are too sensitive to that stuff. Just take it. Let it improve you. And point out the booger. 100%. That should be in the Instagram clip. Point out the booger.
Now, see, this is what I mean. Now, again, this is self-deprecating. I might be doing it again right now. But see, I think to myself, now see, if Ed would have said this, he could have took the same point and created a much fucking better story, left out the booger, and everyone would be like, oh my Lord, that's the greatest on earth. And I'm like, that's the same as I said about the booger. But I fuck it up with the booger.
They'll remember the booger. They're going to remember the 3-footer. Come on. Those are the clips.
Dude, those
are the clips.
You remember speaking on a stage where I told people to brush their teeth and that became like the big thing?
I thought about that last night because I knew we were doing this today. And I'm not kidding you. Last night I laughed by myself thinking about that. We're like, he gave this talk. I'm trying to say all this profound, deep stuff. This guy gets up and goes, brush your teeth. And that's all everybody's talking about the next day is brush your teeth. That's the booger of public speaking. Yeah, and I'm trying to give him the real.
I also said that my mom kept humping.
Yep, you did. That's correct.
You know, I'm just trying to listen. There's a lot of people out there, Ed, that can take what you say and apply it, like A-Rod and you know, all these highly successful people that are already like pretty damn clever. They're just not that clever and apply it, right? But there's so many people out there that don't even know what we just talked about or how to apply it, because it's like their mind isn't that open. Like, I just want to make sure people understand to like open the mind and the possibility, because if you don't have hope and possibility and optimism, I think you're just at a disadvantage. What do you think about that?
Yeah, you're floating. You got to become aware of what you don't know. You have to become aware of the things that are going on around you that you don't think about, that you don't see.
Self-aware.
Yeah, and when you do that, like, it's my favorite people, man. I was a conversation a couple of weekends ago. Like, all my friends are very unique, different people. They're all crazy. I said, you have to be my friend. You have to be two things. You have to be super interesting, right? I don't care. My best friend runs a transmission shop. So he's very wealthy. He's successful, but he's not ever going to be worth $1 billion. But he's an undercover millionaire. You know what I mean? He's a successful dude. But I said the second thing is self-awareness. Self-awareness is extremely attractive to me. It's really endearing. And that's, you know, I hate to keep going back to you. That's one of your great strengths. You're almost too self-aware. You're aware of a version of yourself that's not completely big enough or accurate enough.
Well, dude, send me a number, text me a number that you want in order to get me there.
Okay, I'll do that. Let me think about that.
Yeah, and then remember, because I told you an hour and we're way over, so I'm going to let you go. I know you got shit to do and you're just being polite. Keep in mind, if you ever do go on Clubhouse, you know, let me do a fireside chat with you. We'll get a bunch of people in that room, and basically it's a version of this. I was almost going to do a Clubhouse where they got to listen to me do this live, but I didn't get your permission ahead of time, so I just didn't. But at the end of the day, man, Clubhouse, well, for a guy like you, Ed, you want to reach people. You want to make an impact. See, that's the good thing about you, dude. Now let me tell you, because again, most people don't understand that, like, you know, all these people with loot walk around and quite frankly, you know, flaunt it, but they're just not good people. They just happen to have a lot of money. There's a few people that walk around and actually do something with it and make an impact with it and actually give a shit. And that's you. You're one of those people.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate that.
Well, that's the good part, right? Is when because you said earlier, you made a comment that, you know, sometimes we feel guilty having a bunch of money. And I think the only way to feel guilty from having a bunch of money is if you know deep down that you're greedy with it. Mm-hmm. Like, why would you feel guilty having a bunch of money if you're just out there freaking showing people that it's possible, helping people financially in a million different ways, and literally like making a massive financial impact as well? Yeah. And you don't even talk about it. My dad
used to tell me that. That's what my dad used to say.
Yeah, and you do a lot of that without even anybody knowing about it. Like, nobody knows. It's not on the front page. It's not, you know, talked about. It's not an opportunity on social media. No one even knows about it.
Yeah.
And by the way, I started my own charity, Ed. It's called the Brad Lee Wife and Kid Foundation. If you ever feel bad.
Who's that benefit? Who are the beneficiaries?
My wife and my kids and me.
Oh, that's shocking. Okay.
You know? Like a Global Express. If it's ever just sitting there and you want to donate it because you know you want to make an impact in somebody's life.
Let's start with, I'll take you to that speaking gig for the thing we were doing.
What do you mean?
The one that the speaking gig we're doing together. I'm gonna come pick you up. We'll start with that.
Okay, good. Start with that. Now let me ask you a question. If you ever do Clubhouse, let me do a fireside chat. Commit?
Yes.
And at some time, doesn't have to be a particular time, but cool. Appreciate that. Secondly, dude, I literally am planning a little 3-day sneaky exclusive event here. I'm calling it Real Success. Why? Because, dude, shit we talked about like today can provide it, but people don't have it. So I'm high ticket item. Okay. I want to reach out to your people and see if I can book that, but just be considerate with the old friend action.
Okay.
Because, dude, I want real people here. I want people here that, like, I listen to. And I'm not going to just bring in a bunch of people. There's no slide decks. I know you don't sell shit. So it's like I need real people to come give real value. And when I think who, I'm thinking you Andy for the people that you can't get. And if you can get them, they're flying in private, and I can't expect you to pay your own gas. And I got money, I can pay, but dude, just be kind. And if you can make it to that event, dude, I'd love to have you as the main freaking dude.
Okay, I'll do it.
You will?
Yep, I'll do it.
Done deal.
Just give me the dates. Make sure the dates work.
Done deal. Offline, I will. And man, folks, share this out. If you guys are smart, you're already following him at Ed Milet. You can follow him on all platforms, and you should. His podcast, like I said, professional version, not quite as good as this one, but it's a professional, clean version. How's that? Am I getting better?
It's close.
Like, dude, I got one of the top podcasts on planet Earth, and it's all because of my listeners. But in reality, it's all because of me. Right? It's my charm,
Yes,
it's my
sir.
wit, it's my ability to have conversations with powerful people and not get scared and withered and ask people questions that matter.
Mm-hmm.
That's because I'm so freaking badass at podcasting.
There you go.
Now,
We're
see, I
starting.
went
You
not-
turned the page.
Dude, I went to the extreme again.
You went
Listen,
over
I'm
the
going to
other
work
way.
on those tips, Ed. You're a freaking master. I appreciate you so much. And if anything I can do for you, reach out to me. Obviously, shoot me a text. I'll come anywhere you need me to come. I'll freaking do anything. And last commitment because I got you on the spot. It's easier to get people to commit when the shine's on them. One of these days, when my game's good enough, I'm going to come hang with you and Cabeza.
That's an easy one.
I know, but you guys gambled. You gamble crazy or no?
Yeah, we do sometimes. We could dial it down for
Yeah, I
a
got to
guy.
get my game up, dude. I got to get my game up. I'm shooting like freaking, 98 to 110, and you guys are freaking scratch golfers, dude.
We're not scratch, but you're a little higher than us, but we'll give you some strokes. We'll figure it out. I would love that. That's an easy one.
All right, man. Appreciate you. You're awesome.
I love you, brother.
Until next time, man.
I love you. I got to jump.
Keep it real.
Okay.
Folks, you heard me. Wrap it up. Share it out. Till next time.
Dropping bombs with the real Brad Lee. Subscribe now.